Picture this. You just got the job. Toronto, $85,000 a year. You read the offer letter twice. On paper, you've made it. That's a good salary, a serious salary, the kind of number people nod at when you say it out loud. So here's the question. Is it enough? Most people would say yes, obviously. 85 grand in any city sounds like comfort. It sounds like dinners out, a nice apartment, a little saved at the end of the month. But Toronto doesn't care what your number sounds like. Toronto cares what your number survives. Because here's the part nobody tells you. In this city, a single rent payment can eat more than half your take-home pay before you've bought a single bag of groceries, before you've paid for heat, before you've ridden the subway once. So today, we're not selling you a postcard. We're running the math. Real salaries, real rent, real receipts. And by the end, you'll know the exact number you need to live comfortably in Toronto in 2026. Not survive, comfortably. There's a difference. And that difference is where this story gets uncomfortable. Let's get into it. First, let's talk about where we are. Toronto isn't just Canada's biggest city. It's the country's financial heart, its business capital, and one of the largest urban economies in all of North America. If money moves in Canada, it usually moves through here. People come from everywhere. Toronto is one of the most diverse cities on the planet. More than half its residents were born outside the country. Walk one block and you'll hear 3 languages and smell 5 cuisines. And they come for a reason. This is where the jobs are. Banking, technology, healthcare, film. Toronto has quietly become the 3rd largest tech hub in North America, behind only Silicon Valley and New York. Big companies, hungry startups, and a constant flood of new talent. So the appeal is obvious. Big league careers, world-class everything, a skyline that actually looks like opportunity. But opportunity has a price tag, and in Toronto, that price tag is the highest in the country. So the real question isn't why people move here, it's whether their paycheck can keep up once they arrive. Let's find out who's actually earning what. Average salaries. Here's where it gets interesting. The average salary in Toronto sits at roughly $62,000 a year. That's the middle of the pack. Half the city earns more, half earns less. But averages hide the real story. So let's break it down by job because the gap is wider than you think. Start at the bottom. Minimum wage in Ontario is about $17.60 an hour. Work that full-time, and you're bringing in around $36,000 a year. That's your barista, your retail worker, your warehouse staff, the people who keep the city running. Move up, an administrative assistant earns somewhere around $50,000. A school teacher, depending on experience, lands in the $70,000 to $90,000 range. A registered nurse pulls in around $85,000. And then there's tech. This is where Toronto's numbers explode. The average base salary for a tech worker in this city is over $137,000. A solid software developer easily clears $100 grand. Senior data scientists push close to $200. So you've got a city where one person makes $36,000 and the person on the next floor makes $180. Same city, same rent, same grocery store. That's the tension. Toronto pays some of the best salaries in Canada, but as you're about to see, it charges accordingly, because now we have to talk about rent.
Take a breath. This is the number that breaks people. Let's start small. A studio apartment, sometimes called a bachelor unit. 1 room, everything in it. In Toronto, in 2026, you're looking at roughly $1,800 to $1,900 a month for 1 room. Want a door between your bed and your kitchen? A proper 1-bedroom apartment averages around $2,300 a month. In the downtown core, expect closer to $2,600 or more. Now bring a family. A 2-bedroom runs about $3,000 monthly. And a 3-bedroom, the kind of place a small family actually needs, regularly tops $3,400 a month. Let that sink in. $3,400 every month, just for a roof. Now, here's a twist most people miss. Toronto rents have actually softened a little recently. Prices dropped a few percent year over year as new buildings flooded the market. Landlords are even offering a free month here and there to fill units. But don't celebrate yet. A small dip on a brutal number is still a brutal number. Cheaper than last year doesn't mean cheap. It means slightly less painful. And remember, this is just the rent. We haven't turned the lights on yet. So let's add up everything else it takes to actually live. Rent is the headline, but it's the small stuff that quietly drains the rest. Groceries first. For one person, eating normally in Toronto costs around $500 a month, and that's shopping smart at the discount chains. A family of 4 can spend over $16,000 a year just on food, and food prices are still climbing, forecast to rise another 4 to 6% this year. Now, transport. The good news: Toronto's transit, the TTC, is genuinely useful. A monthly pass covers the subway, streetcars, and buses for about $156. A single ride is around $3.30. And here's a small win for once. Later in 2026, the city is rolling out fare capping, so riders travel free after 47 trips in a month. Skip the car and you save thousands. Because owning a car here, that's $800 to $1,400 a month, once you add insurance, gas, and parking. Ontario has some of the highest car insurance in the country. Utilities. Heating a Toronto apartment through a real Canadian winter isn't optional. Budget around $200 a month for electricity, heat, and water. Internet. Welcome to the land of 3 giant providers. Expect around $80 a month, and that's before they sneak the price up. And eating out? A cheap, incredible meal in Chinatown or Little India runs $10 to $18. But a normal dinner for 2 at a mid-range spot? Easily $70 or $80. Gone in an evening. None of these are huge on their own. Together, they're a second rent.
Okay, let's stop listing prices and start building real budgets. 3 situations. Watch what survives. Situation 1. The single person. You earn the city average, $62,000 a year. After tax, that's roughly $4,100 a month in your pocket. Now rent a 1-bedroom at $2,300, add $500 for food, $156 for transit, $200 for utilities, $80 for internet, $60 for your phone. Add it up, you're at $3,300 in fixed costs. From your $4,100, that leaves about $800 for everything else. Eating out, clothes, fun, emergencies, savings, all of it, from $800. Situation 2. The couple. 2 incomes, around $120,000 combined. That's roughly $7,600 a month after tax. But here's the magic. They split one rent. Suddenly, that $2,300 apartment costs each of them half. Groceries, utilities, internet, all shared. 2 people, 1 rent. This is the cheat code of expensive cities. Situation 3. The small family. 2 parents, 2 kids, around $150,000 combined. Sounds like plenty, but now you need a 3-bedroom at $3,400. Groceries jump to $1,300 a month, and then the silent killer arrives: childcare. Even with subsidies, daycare can run over $1,000 per child. Watch a 6-figure family income vanish in real time. So, let's be honest about what's actually left. The single person on the average salary, after the essentials, they've got a few $100s. Saving is technically possible, but barely. 1 car repair, 1 dental bill, 1 bad month, and the savings plan is gone. They're not building wealth, they're treading water in a very expensive pool. The couple, they're winning. By sharing 1 rent across 2 incomes, they can save real money every month and still live well. In Toronto, partnership isn't just romance, it's a financial strategy. The family? Tight. Sometimes terrifyingly tight. The income looks impressive, but childcare and a bigger apartment swallow it whole. Many families here aren't broke, they're just permanently one surprise away from it. So, here's the uncomfortable truth. In Toronto, your salary doesn't decide your comfort, your living situation does.
Same paycheck, completely different life, depending on whether you're solo, coupled, or raising kids. Which brings us to the moment you've been waiting for, the score. Time to rate Toronto. We measure the city's average salary against its real cost of living, and we drop it into one of 4 tiers. Excellent. Your salary covers everything, with plenty left to save and enjoy. You're building wealth, not just surviving. Comfortable. You cover your costs, live well, and still save a little each month. Steady. Secure. Tight. You make it work, but there's almost nothing left over. One bad month hurts. Struggling. Your salary can't keep up. You need a roommate, a side hustle, or a second income just to stay afloat. So, where does Toronto land on its average salary? Toronto scores tight. On that average $62,000, a single person renting alone is squeezed hard. Drop to minimum wage and it slides into struggling. The only ones living comfortably are dual-income couples or anyone earning well above the average. The city pays well, it just charges more.
So, let's answer the question we started with. How much salary do you really need to live comfortably in Toronto? Here's the number. To live genuinely comfortably as a single person, renting your own place, covering your bills, and still saving something each month, you need around $85,000 to $90,000 a year before tax. Below $75,000, things get tight fast. On the city average of $62,000, most single renters are stretched thin unless they grab a roommate or settle for a studio. So that $85,000 offer from the very beginning, it's not the fortune it sounds like. It's roughly the floor for comfort in this city, the starting line, not the finish. Toronto rewards ambition, it just demands a serious salary in return. Come prepared, and it's one of the best cities on earth. Come underprepared, and the math will humble you fast. Now I want to hear from you. Would you move to Toronto for $85,000 a year, or is that not nearly enough for the life you want? Drop your answer in the comments. And tell me, what's the rent like where you live? I read every single one. If this gave you a reality check, hit subscribe, because next, we're putting another city under the same microscope. Same math, no mercy. I'll see you in the next one.